me if I told you that there's a town in America that's been burning for over 60 years. No war, no meteor, no apocalypse, just fire. Today we will be talking about Centralia in Pennsylvania, US. The population today I think is about 5. We will get into that later on. But where the story begins, there were around 1,400 people living in there. Without wasting your time, let's get into it. Hi everyone, and welcome back to yet new YouTube video on my channel. Today we're talking about Centralia in Pennsylvania and how come this small town has been burning for over 60 years. I literally said oven instead of over, but I'm just gonna ignore that because fire, heat, oven, over, mistakes happen. So how did it happen? How did this small village burn underground for decades? Even though the government spent millions of dollars trying to stop the fire, they were not able to. Let's start our story from the very beginning. 1960. Centralia was a small town known for coal mining. A tight community for about 1,400 people, as I mentioned before. There was nothing out of the ordinary, just these people. Everyone knows everyone. The children play around. The main income, or what made this town more special, was coal mining. So there were so many mines under the ground. The dangerous part that the people did not seem to be able to notice was that the coal had a dark side. The coal didn't just sit neatly underground waiting to be mined. It weaves through hundreds of tunnels under the ground, and it was connected to so many old abandoned shafts that so many people in the town did not even know. Like, a lot of people did not even know. And you might be wondering, okay, Sarah, why are you telling me this? Sounds so boring and interesting. This is because this is where it all started. This is how the burning began. In May 1962, they were preparing for Memorial Day, and there was so many trash, I'd say, that they had to burn. So they went onto one of their lands and they set the trash on fire, and everything was fine. I think Memorial Day went well. A few days later, the smoke was still there, but they didn't really think it was anything bad. A few weeks later, the smoke is still there. A few months later, the smoke is still there. And then they had to report it to the government. It turns out that beneath the landfill they used, there was an opening that led straight into the coal that was under the ground, and it was set on fire. And as I said, all of the coal down, there was so many connected tunnels, so many openings that the villagers didn't even remember, so many things. And it kept spreading. The smoke was everywhere, seeping out of the ground, throughout any cracks in the roads. The smell was awful, ashes everywhere. They were barely able to catch a fresh breath because of carbon monoxide. The government workers kept digging and working hard for days, dumping water on it, trying their best to find a way to put an end to that fire. And they failed. The fire kept moving underground quietly through miles of tunnels. And once a coal catches fire, it's basically unstoppable. Especially that, as I said before, all of their undergrounds is full of coal mines. Like, there are even places that they didn't know had coal. They had coal, and they kept burning and feeding into the fire. By 1969, things started getting so serious, which was 7 years after the incident. The ground started heating up to the point you cannot walk around barefoot. The people started to notice that their basements are super hot, and once thermometers were placed in there, it reached 150 degrees Fahrenheit. Carbon monoxide levels started rising inside their homes, which made it so much harder for them to go on about their daily lives. Government workers were still at it, trying to put an end to the fire, trying to guess or study where it's gonna be next so that they can corner it. And each time they thought they got it, they realized that there was like another opening, another tunnel in somewhere else that was still burning and setting it all up again. By the 70s, it looked like a ghost town. Roads were splitting open, smoke everywhere, the trees were dying, and yet the people still wanted to be there. But there was an incident that changed everything. February 14th, 1981, a 12-year-old boy named Todd Domboski was playing in his grandmother's yard when suddenly a sinkhole opened beneath him and he fell. We're talking 150 feet deep. He was luckily able to cling into a tree root, and his cousin was able to pull him up in the right time, saving the life of the boy. Otherwise, it would have been a tragic end. At this point, the people started to realize that they were no longer able to stay, no matter how much they loved that town. It was their home. They just can't risk them and their children dying over that. It was the wake-up call. The news spread everywhere, and the US government finally made the decision to evacuate the entire town immediately. The air was poisonous, the ground was shaken and unstable, and they could not predict what was gonna fall next. They offered residents money to relocate using federal funds, but some people still refused to leave. Centralia was nearly gone. By the 90s, Centralia was nearly gone. Even the zip code was literally removed. It was deleted as if the town has never existed. If you walk past the town, all you're gonna see is demolished houses, a lot of smoke everywhere, cracked roads, and each road leading to the town was closed down. There was a main highway named Route 61, which was very damaged by the fire. Super cracked, it had to be shut down permanently. You might be thinking, this town is empty, it's a ghost town, no schools, no business, no nothing. There are still, if I'm not wrong, 5 residents in there. Why? Because they kept fighting since the 90s to be able to live in there, and they never left their homes. They fought courts to stay, and finally in 2013 the government allowed them to live in there under one condition: the moment they pass away, those lands, the lands they are still living on, will belong to the government, so that Centralia will officially close down. I tried looking up if these people are still there, and I couldn't really find anything. But as I was researching, I found out that this, like, Centralia still exists. Like, it hasn't been officially closed down, which I am assuming because there are some people still living in there, which is crazy to me because, bro, I know it's hard to let go of your home, but I don't know. It's up to them. Who am I to judge? Who am I to judge? Despite all of this, it's still burning, and scientists predicted that it might be burning for the next 250 years. Just one tiny mistake. They just wanted to burn the trash. They didn't check what was underground. They didn't see the opening, and it's still burning until this very moment. I saw a lot of people saying that they visited it, you know, taking cool pictures of it, you know, travelers, photographers. Honestly, if I ever get the chance to, I wouldn't mind visiting it. If you live in the US and you've ever thought of driving past Pennsylvania, just be careful and remember when you see this ghost town that one day, 60 years ago, people were living in there, and it was a green place, and there were no cracked roads, no smoke, no pollution, no nothing. This was it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you had fun. Thank you so much. I love you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.